Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're getting right to it and demystifying the invisible blueprint of pharmaceutical safety. Whether you're taking a standard headache tablet or receiving a life-saving vaccine, you just inherently trust it to be safe. But how exactly is that trust built? Well, behind every single dose lies a rigorously controlled system designed exclusively to protect you.
Okay, let's dive into this. What if the quality of a medicine depended less on the final laboratory test and more on every step taken during its manufacturing process? We tend to picture scientists in lab coats just testing a finished pill right before shipping it out. But true safety? It's proactive. It's about building quality into the very DNA of the manufacturing process right from day one. So enter our hero framework, GMP, or Good Manufacturing Practice. Simply put, these are the internationally recognized principles ensuring pharmaceutical products are consistently produced to predefined quality standards. And look, it's not just bureaucratic red tape. This is an all-encompassing shield that actually governs how medicines are made, how they're tested, documented, and distributed. This right here is the rock-solid foundation that builds global patient trust.
Here's our agenda for today's explainer, where we'll systematically dismantle this massive framework into bite-sized pieces. We've got 1. The foundation of quality. 2. Core principles in action. 3. The documentation rule. 4. Layers of oversight. 5. Navigating challenges. And finally, 6. The future blueprint.
Section 1. The foundation of quality, shifting the paradigm. Because when you're making medicines, errors literally have life or death stakes. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift in how the industry operates. Historically, things were pretty reactive. You relied heavily on end product testing. But think about it. If you just test a finished pill and realize the whole batch is bad, you've already wasted massive amounts of time, money, and raw materials. So the GMP approach flips this entirely to built-in process quality. It's completely proactive. We're talking about carefully planning, validating, and controlling every single stage of manufacturing to stop defects before they even happen.
Because if you ignore this proactive approach, the consequences are honestly disastrous. Even a microscopic error can lead to product contamination or incorrect dosage strengths. That means a medicine could wind up being dangerously potent or just completely ineffective. We're talking catastrophic labeling errors, cross-contamination between totally different drugs on the same line, major batch inconsistencies, and ultimately massive product recalls. GMP is the protective safety net that catches these risks long before they reach your medicine cabinet.
Moving on to Section 2, Core Principles in Action, People, Places, and Processes. Let's step right onto the factory floor.
So zooming in on that invisible shield, GMP essentially locks down every single phase of a pill's journey. Step 1 is raw material selection. You have to know exactly where every single ingredient originates. Step 2 requires strictly validating the manufacturing processes themselves. You can't just guess. Step 3 is equipment qualification, which basically means proving that your machines do exactly what they claim to do every time. And Step 4 ensures proper packaging and storage so that medicine remains perfectly stable until it reaches the patient.
But hey, machines don't run themselves, right? People are actually the most critical component of pharmaceutical manufacturing. Well-trained personnel must deeply understand standard operating procedures. They need to master stringent hygiene, operate complex equipment, and execute exact documentation practices. In the GMP world, a system is truly only as strong as the people running it, which makes continuous, rigorous training absolutely non-negotiable.
And then we have the physical environments. These facilities have to be specifically designed from the ground up to minimize contamination and allow for highly efficient cleaning. And the equipment? It has to be properly installed, regularly calibrated for absolute precision, and routinely maintained. You definitely can't just buy an industrial mixer off the shelf and start whipping up heart medication. Creating a highly controlled physical setting is critical for consistent production.
Section 3. The documentation rule, the heart of GMP. This is arguably the most recognized aspect of the whole framework.
So, the crucial point is, if an activity is not documented, regulators may consider it not to have happened. I really want to let that sink in for a second. An employee could flawlessly execute a safety check perfectly to the letter. But if they didn't sign off on it and log the exact time, in the eyes of a health inspector, it literally never occurred. The weight that carries for compliance is just massive.
Because of that golden rule, companies have to generate mountains of essential documents. We're talking standard operating procedures, batch manufacturing records that track a specific pill from start to finish, equipment logs, cleaning records, validation reports, and training records. It sounds like a lot, and it is, but it creates the ultimate traceability. If a problem ever pops up, investigators can track deviations super efficiently just by following this exact paper trail backward.
All right, Section 4, Layers of Oversight. Quality assurance versus quality control. Let's clear up a very common point of confusion in the industry.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it distinctly untangles two acronyms you hear tossed around together all the time. Quality control, or QC, is the hands-on testing. They are the ones actually checking materials and finished products to verify they meet established specs. Quality assurance, or QA, on the other hand, is the broader umbrella. QA oversees the entire system, guaranteeing that processes and documentation consistently comply with GMP. They are distinct, but together they form this impenetrable double layer of oversight.
Let's zoom out a bit for Section 5, Navigating Challenges and Compliance, the reality check.
Having these rules on paper is one thing, but proving you're actually following the blueprint? That brings intense regulatory scrutiny. Health authorities use a rigorous checklist during their inspections, which are often unannounced, by the way. They evaluate actual manufacturing practices on the floor, hunt for documentation accuracy, check equipment maintenance, and deeply scrutinize data integrity. Here's the reality. You absolutely cannot just cram for a GMP audit the night before. True compliance demands everyday perfection.
And keeping up that level of everyday perfection, it is incredibly tough. Manufacturers face huge hurdles, from keeping pace with constantly changing global regulations to managing incredibly complex documentation systems. They have to actively prevent human error, maintain absolute data integrity, and effectively train a rotating cast of new employees. GMP is definitely not some one-and-done exercise. It requires an ongoing living culture of quality and continuous efforts.
Let's move to Section 6, the Future Blueprint, Technology and Evolution, and see how this builds into the future of pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Because science never stands still, right? The future of GMP is all about leveraging technology to massively improve efficiency without sacrificing an ounce of compliance. We are rapidly moving away from giant rooms filled with dusty paper binders and moving towards secure digital documentation systems. We're seeing automated manufacturing processes, artificial intelligence stepping in for continuous quality monitoring, and real-time process analytics that can literally detect a tiny flaw in milliseconds. It is an incredibly exciting leap forward.
Ultimately, all of these pillars, the intense processes, the new technologies, they all boil down to one core truth. GMP is a steadfast commitment to patient safety and global public health. Every validated process, every meticulous quality check, it all exists for one reason: to guarantee that when you or someone you love takes a medicine, it works exactly as it should. It really is the hidden system working behind the scenes to protect your health every single day.
Which leaves us with this final, fascinating question to think about. As pharmaceutical science leaps forward into the age of AI and automation, how will these rigorous quality systems evolve to ensure our most groundbreaking new medicines remain flawlessly safe? Something to keep an eye on for sure. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and we'll see you in the next one.